Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lariello, and I'm so excited to welcome Benjamin Townsend, the young talent, back to the podcast. Benjamin joins us just off of a Euro trip where he raced both in Slovenia and did a trail team training camp. Benjamin's been having a killer 2025 season so far with a top 20 finish at the Broken Arrow Sky Race 23K, which was a Golden Trail Series race, amongst many others, including a bid to the U23 Skyrunner World Series final, where Benjamin will compete with other U23 athletes for the overall win. It's pretty good stuff. I was excited to catch up with Benjamin, reassess his whys and where he's at in the sport, talk about what he's excited about right now to continue to pursue, what he likes to continue to race, and what his plans are for 2026 and beyond. We talked about a lot of good stuff like over racing, just how busy his schedule has been, a lot of back and forth and travel between the United States and Europe and Asia. He's been kind of all over the world this year. It's some good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's a great episode and really appreciative for Benjamin to come back on for a conversation. So without further ado, Benjamin Townsend.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Benjamin Townsend, welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How's it going, buddy?
Doing good, man. Happy to be back. Thanks for inviting me once again.
Oh, dude, I love having you on, man. It's always fun conversations, like race previews and then talking about what you've been up to. You've had a busy season, man. Like you're traveling everywhere, doing the damn thing. I mean, you're over doing Sky Racing Series in like Asia, and then you're back running Broken Arrow, and then you're doing the Cirque Series. So it's been fun to follow along. How do you feel, bud? How are you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm definitely pretty tired. I think the travel back and forth felt really good until all of a sudden it didn't, and it hit me all at once, and really have been struggling to sort of manage that fatigue and try and train and race still, which I think I've definitely learned that just because you're invited to all these things doesn't mean you have to do them all.
Okay. You're in the process of then you get invited to these things and you say yes. It's hard to say no, dude. Like, it's really cool when someone reaches out and they're like, "Hey, come to my race, come do this." And you're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then you get a bunch of them. And yeah, I feel your pain. And then you got to say no. Or if you don't say no, then you do it all.
Yeah, in my case, I did not say no.
So, dude, how are you? So we got to catch up on a lot of things. First thing is, I'm wondering if we maybe talk Skyrunner, and then we can kind of get into Broken Arrow, because you had such a lights out Broken Arrow result this year. And I know that's changed a lot of things for you in a very positive way. But let's talk Skyrunner. You were invited to the Skyrunner World Series final this year. Is that correct? For the U23?
Yeah, so they accepted me again as an elite U23 athlete, and so I just had to participate in 3 races to get to the final, and so I did my part, and now I can go to the final in October in Spain.
Okay, so final is in October in Spain. We'll talk about that and the stoke level for that. Let's talk about the races that you did, though. I think it was it 2 in Asia that you did, or 1? I know 1 was in Spain, 2 in Asia. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, so I started it out in the Calamoro Sky Race in Spain earlier in March. And I was so fit going into that race, feeling really good and excited, and ended up about 8 or 9 miles into the race having a really strange both feet issue. They both, basically I couldn't put any flexion or pressure on either foot without just the most incredible amount of pain. And so I ended up having to DNF out of that race. They had to carry me up the mountain.
Oh my God.
So that was it kind of got all of my kinks out at that race. So I did that. And then on the flight home, got super sick, was sick for like a week. And then I sort of felt like, okay, I got out all the negative parts of the season. So let's go see what we can do. And then early April into May, or late April to May, I did a 2-week block in Asia. So I raced in Malaysia, the Penang Sky Race for U23, which was only a 10K. 10K with 3,000 feet, super technical, rooty jungle, 95 degrees, 90% humidity, just brutal race. And then that following week, raced Weta Sky Race in Japan, which was another hefty hitter. It was about 16 miles with a little over 10,000 feet of vert. And thankfully got the win for U23 there, which was my first skyrunning U23 win. And then I raced in Peru after Broken Arrow. And that was sort of my skyrunning World Series bout this year.
Oh man, dude. So all over the world. You're everywhere. You're doing the thing. Let's talk Spain a little bit. I think it's important to talk about the low points so that way we can really hype up the high points. What happened? Like it's funny you say that. I've only had it happen to me in winter. On like certain like icy or like really snowy stuff. And if I'm trying out new shoes, were you wearing a brand new pair of shoes? Because that's the only time I've had like issues with my like planters freaking out.
It's interesting. It was they had about probably 40 miles on them before the race. So I was feeling confident in them. I think I still have no idea what happened. I think it was sort of a perfect storm of maybe my socks being a little bit too tight, along with the shoes also being tied a little too tight. And then who knows, changing elevation really fast, all kinds of things could have affected it. But it was such a weird pain. I was fully debilitated. I couldn't walk at all. And it took about 3 days to recover from.
Oh, really?
I could walk normally again.
You were sore from that then. That's interesting, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, and haven't worn those shoes since and have been okay. So
what is it? What were they? At the risk of losing the potential future sponsorship, what was it?
It was the normal Jacques Brute. So they're
shout out to Killian there.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, dude, they're sexy looking shoes. They're cool as fuck. Like yeah, they're cool. So I've actually never worn the Jirags. They look dope though, but I don't know. Maybe yeah. Not for sky racing, I guess.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've run in them other times, been okay. So it was a really, really weird, and I was super bummed because I was so fit. Like I just felt like I could really smash that one out of the park. So
yeah. And that was a competitive race too. Calamaro had, I think everybody was in there. There was like, was it, oh man, I get the name screwed up. Who's the Antonio guy that you know that runs for ASICS? That's really
Antonio
cool.
Martinez.
Yeah. That guy's so cool. Big fan of his.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Super cool. All right, let's talk about your Asia trip though. That's what I want to get into because that's where the meat and bones of the success came. How did it feel, obviously, to get your first U23 win, especially on such a big stage? I know we were all back here cheering for you. We're like, yeah, we got an American on the podium. Let's go. How did that feel to you? I mean, that must have been like not just a weight lifted off your shoulders, but just like showing that, okay, I can do this and I can do this at an international level.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I think the weight off my shoulders was actually pretty big because there's a point where you race. I'm kind of the person who always wants to win no matter what, even if I'm racing people who will totally beat me. I think I'm going to win and I want to win. And so I think I was definitely a little bit frustrated with how I just wasn't quite performing the way I wanted to leading up into this. And kind of last year wasn't as good as I wanted it. And then to just be able to really like put together a race, feeling good about my nutrition, not making any dumb mistakes. The shoes were good. Nutrition was good. Everything just kind of went smoothly. And then to actually like get the U23 win was just so it was exactly a weight off my shoulders. Like finally, I know, kind of proving to myself that I can do this and that I'm really one of the best in my age group in the sport. And so it was really cool, especially at such a hard race. I think where Americans tend to struggle a little bit more is those super high vert races and really steep races, because those Europeans are so good at hiking and they have the schema background. So I was happy to do good at something that maybe isn't just an American fast course, it was something that is true skyrunning.
Yeah. Let's talk about the course itself and preparation for a race like this. Like, obviously you got to race in Japan just before. Like what were you doing in the lead up to, or what was, so I know obviously your dad is your coach, amazing world-class coach, Jeremy Strom. What did he have you doing that like prepared the legs for something like this? Like, were you doing a lot of power hiking? Like, what did you mix it up in, and how did you have the muscles kind of prepared for something?
Yeah. So in the off season, I do we have an incline trainer treadmill that goes up to 40%. So I'm in that pretty much all winter, just at that really awkward pace where everything in your body wants to run, but you can hike, and just forcing myself to hike for as long as I can go, basically. That was one of the big things to help my hiking improve, because I think a lot of Americans specifically struggle with hiking because we're so runner based, I think. And then I was actually doing a lot of stuff on the incline, getting really steep repeats with hard downhills in between. And then we also sort of stack efforts, if that makes sense. So maybe Friday a really hard vertical, and then Sunday sort of a good hard up down with really steep terrain, and just sort of building up that base of beating your body up a little bit. And thankfully in Colorado Springs, we do have a lot of steep trails where maybe you don't get quite the length of steep trails, but you can definitely sort of replicate that up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's funny you say that. So that's kind of been something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Is I used to think of Colorado Springs as like the absolute perfect training ground, but I might get eyes for this one, but like, I don't think it is as much as I used to think. And the reason I say that is because like we have a couple good dirt road climbs and stuff like that, but like nothing as like the one thing we're missing is ski roads, like a ski resort type of roads, or ski resort climbs that are in that like 17 to 20% range but's runnable, that's not like super technical. So it's almost like that in between section that I've had this conversation with a bunch of people in the last week, because I've been like projecting like certain climbs for like the off season and stuff like that would like fit the profile of stuff I want to race next year. And I'm like, dude, we don't have this. We need this. So yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. There's a few spots but you'd have to go up, down, up, down, up, down in order to like get the vertical relief that you need. It's almost like to find the exact specific type of climb to replicate, like, I don't know, maybe like a Broken Arrow or something like that. It's actually a little bit harder than people think, which is interesting.
It is. I think a lot of our climbs they're good steep, but just not very long, because a lot of the stuff that we're doing is in the foothills. We don't really get into the mountains that much, just because they're not super accessible here. You have to run really far to get to them, and there's not really a way to drive.
Yeah.
There are like a good amount of off trail options, but then again, it's very loose and, one step forward, two steps back. So it's not your, grouse grind and Squamish or anything like that.
Did Ace take you back to the Crystal Park trails recently?
Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. I love it in there. That's honestly, I was training a lot in there for Weta.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So one of the things we'll get to, I do want to talk about in this conversation, is a lot of the stuff you've been doing with the trail team, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I want to finish up Skyrunner. So obviously this is a huge opportunity for you to be able to go and compete in the final again. What do you think? Like, is this, now that you're kind of like at a point in the sport where you really have grown, you've done a couple of years in this, do you think you'll do it again next year? Is that something you'll continue to do?
Yeah. So I'm in a weird limbo spot right now because I'm not exactly sure how the U23 rules work.
Mhm.
Next year, I turn 23 at the end of the year. So for pretty much the whole year, I'll be under 23, but I'm not sure exactly what the rule is. If I'm still classified as U23, I'll 100% do it because I know I'll be able to get support. Um, if I'm not part of that, it will kind of depend. I don't know if I'll be able to do the full series because they ask for 4 or 5 races.
Mm.
But I think I'll definitely stay in skyrunning because I do really love that style of running. So maybe next year looks like I do 1 or 2 sky races if I'm not U23, unless I get some sort of partnership that can pay for all my travel. But I think it's really hard when you live in America to do the Skyrunning World Series because everything is really far and not super easy to get to. Like even the Canadian race,
Yeah, Minotaur.
Minotaur, it's really there's not a good way to get there. You have to fly somewhere and then drive 3 hours pretty much no matter what. And so I think that just is really hard on your body.
Let me ask you this. Is the reason you haven't gone to Minotaur the last few years because of Broken Arrow? Like, has it just been because of the same weekends?
Yeah, it has been the same weekend and Broken Arrow is really important to me. But also it hasn't been a part of the U23.
Oh,
So they don't
okay.
give me any support to go. I would have to do it on my own dime, basically.
Damn, bastards.
Which that course looks incredible. Like,
That's what I
really
was gonna say. I was like, "What the hell?" It's so good. I had a good buddy of mine. You know, Brad. Brad was supposed to go out to it this year, and it got canceled. I was like, "Oh man, that sucks." Yeah, hopefully they don't cancel it next year. But
And they didn't do much to help with athletes either. So if you were that was going to be one of your 4 as an elite, and you went to that one and they canceled it, they didn't like say, "Okay, you only need 3." Like
yeah,
they're still expecting them to find another race to get to, which is kind of a bummer because I know at least last year Golden Trail when Tatra got canceled, they kind of had some leniency with that, but Skyrunning seemed pretty stiff on we want 4 or 5 races.
yeah. Well, it makes sense, and they also have a gazillion races too. So I guess for the
Yeah.
Euros, it's so much easier because there's literally a race every other week or every week. There's just something I always get to. Let me ask you this, because like you've raced a lot of the races. Like, what do you think? Like, do you not just the style of the race, but because do you like it because there's so many options? I mean, I don't know how it is for U23. It seems like there's much more limited options for U23, but like when you're comparing it to maybe the Golden Trail Series, that's more of a track race. Like, do you just like the style better? What do you like better about it?
I definitely do like the style better. I really enjoy the steep stuff and really technical. Um, and I think it's also kind of what I'm good at. I think the Golden Trail is really cool, but also it just doesn't interest me that much. It's too fast and it's not I don't know, skyrunning has a really cool community where it still feels sort of that dirt bag trail vibe, but with performance. Whereas Golden Trail seems like full on kind of road mentality, if that makes sense, where it's kind of eat or be eaten and nobody's really it's kind of very clean, which I don't love.
Much more cutthroat. Let me ask you this. So you've had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with the trail team athletes this year, and a lot of them are like in your age group, and some a little younger. What are they like saying? I mean, what are the young guns like coming up? Like, do they want to do Skyrunner? Do they want to do Golden Trail? Like, what's the thing that people want to go to? Like, it's just curious. It makes me curious because I just like a lot of people feel like we just need more North American races on the Skyrunner series. Like we need to make this happen. You know, I'd love to see more of a push if more American athletes were to do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting because I would say this year's crop of the trail team athletes is a little bit different than in the past. I think in the past, it's been very Golden Trail type people. But just talking with a few of the people on the team, like a lot of them are really interested in that more skyrunning-esque kind of running, which is interesting. I think it's pretty kind of dependent on your background, I guess. So, for example, Jarrett Gillingham and Sophie, they are both like Sophie grew up running uh, Mount Marathon her whole life, so she really wants to get into skyrunning. And Jarrett just loves adventuring. He went to school in Bellingham, Washington, and was always up in those technical mountains, and he wants to do into skyrunning. But then we have some people on the trail team who are even from Ohio. She was not interested in skyrunning at all. Like, Golden Trail is definitely more her alley.
Gotcha.
So it is kind of cool. I think when it first came out, it was a lot more of the speedsters who only want to do Golden Trail. But right now, it's a cool mix of mountain versus maybe road trail hybrid and golden and ultras and that kind of thing.
Options. I like the idea that at least there's options. Like if we just had Golden Trail, I don't think it would be very good for the sport. I'm glad there's something that exists like Skyrunner and Cirque Series and these different like levels and different opportunities just besides Golden Trail that kind of make up our sport. So there's options for people to do. Let me get into let's talk trail the trail team. So you went to Squamish for their camp, and you also went to Germany. You were selected to go race for Team USA and do the Germany camp as well. Let's talk Squamish first. Like what was that how did that opportunity come about with Andy, and kind of how did that solidify? Like how did it go when you went out there?
Yeah, so the Squamish camp was one that I wasn't planning on doing because it was sort of a little bit more, I don't know what the word is. They were kind of selective with who was going, and they wanted to hold spots for certain people, basically. And it was sponsored by Archaeopteryx camp. And so I was actually planning on racing the Youth Skyrunning World Championships that same weekend. And I don't want to say too much, but I was having a bit of trouble with the management of that youth skyrunning team for the USA. And I really didn't feel excited or comfortable going, to be honest. It just didn't have a good vibe to me at all, just with who was running it and how it was being run and how things were being dealt with. And then right at that same time, I was kind of having doubts. Andy said, "Hey, we have a couple extra spots at this Canada camp if you'd like to go." And I was like, "Yes, please." I would love to go to Squamish. I've always wanted to go. It seems like a wonderful place. And it was actually pretty much fully funded. So they covered flight, they covered our stay. We just had to pay for food, essentially, which was amazing. We got to tour the Arc'teryx grounds and sort of get an inside view of what they're working on and different product, and which was just, that's kind of my dream in the future, is to be shoe and product development. So it was really cool to sort of see that behind the scenes, especially at the brand like Arc'teryx, who seems so forward thinking with their style of creating stuff. And then the Arc'teryx guys kind of showed us around the local trails, which were absolutely incredible. They do a lot more rock climbing as a part of their running. It's kind of intertwined, where I feel here it's like you're either running or climbing, or you're kind of a sky runner, which there's like 5 of us in America who sky run. So it was really cool to go do this true mountain-based camp. And it was actually pretty cool because there was only 6 of us there.
Wow. Dude, that's amazing. Yeah. Did they kit you guys out? Like, what was so obviously you toured some of the Arc'teryx facilities. Did you get to meet Adam Campbell and Jesse McCauley and all them? Very cool. Cool people. What was the facilities like? What did you guys do? I saw like one day you did like a VK thing. That was like a massive climb or something like that. I think you told, maybe, I don't know if I saw that or you told me about it. I can't remember. But anyway, like what did you guys do when you were there specifically?
Yeah. So we all flew in, and that same day we drove and went to Precision, because they have a little place there. And for the people who hadn't already got sweat tests done, sort of talked through how Precision was started and why they're started.
Are you a salty sweater?
For you, I'm not. I had a 700 milligrams.
Dude, I'm almost double yours. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently the guy who founded it was about 1800 milligrams of sodium per liter.
Holy shit.
And
That's
he
crazy.
kept cramping up. And then he finally realized that he needs to create a product to stop this from happening. So it was pretty cool to sort of see Precision's background. They hooked us up with a bunch of gels and um, electrolytes and cool things like that. And then we headed over to the Arc'teryx grounds, got to tour around a little bit, meet with Adam and then Cam, who's their athlete manager. And then went over to the grouse grind, which is essentially like they have three of them, I think. There's one in Whistler, one in Squamish, and one in Vancouver. So we did the Vancouver one, and it's about, I think it was only a little over a mile with 2,000 feet or something. It's super steep.
So is it better than our incline or like, is it
It's
easier?
less stairs. It's more trail, which was kind of nice.
Okay.
I would say it's less steep though.
Interesting.
But Joe Gray actually just raced one of the grouse grinds I saw.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah.
In like Vancouver. I didn't know that was a race. I was like, dude.
Yeah. You would love it. It's actually really sweet. It's kind of a mix of trail and stairs. But just beautiful sort of introduction. Kind of then went into Squamish. Next day did the Chief, which is a famous mountain there, sort of. Squamish is Canada's Yosemite, so they're huge climbing town, giant stone walls. And so we climbed sort of to the top of the Chief, which is their most famous climbing wall, sort of their El Cap, if you will. Which was just so cool. I just love that mix of, I mean, skyrunning, I just love it. I think it adds such a cool element and it sort of slows you down and puts you more in the moment rather than just running through the mountains with your eyes closed kind of thing.
What was that big day you guys did that was like, is that the Chief, where you guys were like all hooked up with gear and like you had like a full on, like kind of rigs and everything?
Yeah. So that was the next day. We did what the mountain called Sky Pilot. And they rented us all ice axes and helmets and all the things we needed. And we took a gondola up, ran, and then had to go up, kind of scale this snow face, which is why our ice axes were needed. You just sort of kind of zigzag across, make your own little path. And then actually got to do a little bit of rock climbing up to the top. And then we didn't need ropes, but to sort of practice the skill of it, test it out, we did rappel down, which was really fun.
Dude, that's amazing.
It was so cool. And we got to go out with one of their athletes accompanied us on that trip. And it was just so cool because it was only 10 miles or something, but we were out there for maybe 5 hours, which is just a totally different system and different life than a lot of what we're doing out here.
Yeah.
Where everything's runnable,
It's true. We don't spend as much time as you would have. I mean, for 5 hours, dude, it's like a 40-mile run out here. Like,
yeah,
it's like, that's crazy.
Definitely.
What'd you take away from these experiences? Like, has it been great for you for cause you're young, like you're just starting to meet people in the sport and really make a name for yourself and grow. Has it helped with networking? Has it helped with skill development? Like what have you taken away from it?
I would say it definitely helps with networking. And not just for brands or, trying to move yourself up in the sport, but also just with friends and people your age kind of trying to do the same thing as you, which is sort of cool. So again, like I'm meeting the Arc'teryx athlete manager, which is a company I would absolutely love to be a part of. And at the same time, I'm meeting other people my age in the country who are doing trail running. And now I have a place to stay in Flagstaff, or they have a place to stay in the spring. So it's really cool because it really brings together this community and makes it a little smaller, which I think is cool. And I really like what Andy's done because I think it really puts young trail runners on the forefront, where in the past, I think brands have really only focused on the now. They want, okay, who won Western States this year? That's who we want. And that's all they care about. Whereas I think Andy's saying, hey, look, you can get somebody at 21, 20 years old and have them from their sub ultra days all the way to maybe they win Western States in 10 years. And then you have this really cool partnership and you helped develop that athlete. So I really like how he's done that. He's sort of acting like a college recruiter, but for trails. He's not just, I think a lot of the brands are kind of lazy and they don't really recruit. They wait for people to come to them. And if they're not world champion already, it doesn't matter.
And even if you are, like, it all depends. Like, do you fit their marketing scheme? And I mean, this is not shitting on brands. Brands are brands, and
right. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. But that said, I mean, it's not like we're making shit up. Like, it is what it is. Like, if you don't fit into the marketing campaign or what they want to do with their marketing campaign or whatever, then you're SOL. I mean, dude, some of the best athletes in the sport, like Ryan Becker, it's taken him, I don't even know if he's found a sponsor yet. And he's better than I'll ever be, better than most people will ever be. And like, there's just so many athletes like that if, brands were to open their mind a little bit more to partnerships, I think it would change. And that's what I really appreciate about what Andy's been able to do. Like, he's really grown outside of it. The other thing I like too, man, is, for instance, like, there's the trail team elite, but at the same time, like, he opens the team up as well to, like, yourself, to Rena, like athletes that didn't go through the application process or didn't go through the whole process back earlier in the year. And he just presents those opportunities to you guys to be able to do the same things, to get the same opportunities. And I just really appreciate that. It's not just like a closed system. It's open to a lot of folks, which is great. So
definitely, there's the trail team elite, which is their post collegiate specifically. So all those kids are just coming out of college, wanting to get into the next stage of their running. And then they have the trail team club, which is essentially categorized as the best unsponsored trail runners in our country. And then there's just trail team associates. Like, there's so many people that are neither of those categories that are on these trips and are invited to do all these cool things. And then there's trail team Boulder. So it's really cool how it sort of broadens out and it's really cool how it just sort of webs. Andy finds the people he knows of, and then they all say, hey, I actually know someone who'd be really good for this. And then that brings another person in. And now it's 100 people where it was just maybe 20 to begin with.
It's amazing. Like I said, what he's created is just, I mean, we talk about this every podcast, but it's like just what he's done for the sport. Not only does he create his own competition because he just continues to pipe people into the sport, but it's just grown so much. And I'm glad. I feel like this year, more than any other year, it just like you've really seen the compound effects with what he's been doing with just the camps. Let's talk about Germany. Like, first of all, you were selected to go represent Team USA or represent the United States in Germany. Talk about that experience and then talk about the trail team camp that you guys did out there.
Yeah. So it was actually supposed to be kind of two separate things. So there was planning on having the camp in Germany just to get some Europe exposure. And then they were talking with the World Mountain Running Association, trying to find excuse me, what race we could get a Team USA to and would work out. And then it happened to be the World Mountain Running Cup final was like the weekend that right after that Germany camp. So they ended up kind of stacking them. So the races were in Slovenia and it was 2 days. The first day was not a VK, but a vertical. It was like 10K vertical. And then the next day was a classic up-down course about, can't remember exactly how far it was, maybe 10K with 2,000 feet, so pretty fast. But it was really, honestly, my whole goal my entire life has been to represent the United States. It's always meant the world to me. I'm a huge patriot of my country. I love being from here and I love being able to represent it. And so I thought it was absolutely a wonderful opportunity that he gave kind of people who weren't on the world team this year, but will be at some point. Let's get these people out and race in Europe and kind of give them that. Because maybe you suck and you learn, oh, wow, these were hard for me in Europe. So now when I'm actually on a world team, I know how to, adjust these things and figure it out. So it was really cool to sort of get that exposure and learning experience. And it was interesting for sure. It was definitely the opposite kind of races that I've been training for this whole year. They were lightning fast. We had the whole run together Kenya team there. And I mean, it was just basically Africa versus the world in those races. And they were out fast. So it was really interesting to sort of spin the legs a little bit faster than I'm normally used to and see how that feels.
Sorry to interrupt you. When you've raced Broken Arrow or even this race, like how close to the line have you stood like near Patrick and Philemon? Because like I raced them at, what was it? It was like Cirque Brighton last year, and that gun went off, and I was like, holy shit, they are so fast. It's stupid how good they are.
Yeah,
It's not fun to race them. Not just watch.
Yeah, Broken Arrow. I actually went out with Philemon for about a mile just to sort of see what that pace felt like, and
didn't feel good, did it?
It's fast. Yeah, it's really hard.
So what did you like? What was your takeaway from the opportunity? Like, what did you think? Obviously, you probably learned a ton getting to race those style of races. It's a completely different ball game, completely different vibe. But just the weekend of being there, like, what did you take away from it? Like, was it a super amazing experience? Like, were you excited about your result? Were you bummed about your result? Like, mixed feelings? Like, obviously, everything in your age bracket now, everything you do is a learning experience. So it's like, what are your takeaways from stuff like that?
Yeah. So my first race didn't quite go how I wanted it to, but it was okay. I felt like it was fine, I think I had a little bit too big of a week in the Germany camp, to be honest, than I would have liked before a race weekend. So I think I was a little bit more tired than I wanted to be. So I kind of struggled that first day. Second day I came in really wanting to make up for that. And honestly, the second day went even worse. I just didn't have the legs, felt terrible. But it was really interesting. I don't know. It's really interesting to see how hard it is to go back and forth. I think you do it once and you're like, oh, that was easy, I can do that. But once you do it a bunch of times throughout the year, it really does add up on you. And so I think I've definitely learned for the future that I'm not going to jump back and forth. I'm going to do maybe a month block, kind of thing. So
just
you
stay out there and do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that'd make a massive difference in performance. I think another thing is just learning to be really adaptable, because I think some people are a little bit too systematic. And when you go overseas, your whole system is gone.
Yeah.
There's no food that you're used to. There's no restaurant. Like everywhere in Europe is closed at like 8 p.m. or earlier. So you can't go to a grocery store when you get somewhere at 10, everything's closed. So there's just kind of little things. We traveled the day before the race from Germany to Slovenia. So we traveled Friday, got there at about 8 p.m. and nothing was open. So we pretty much all had Saturday morning, had our high carb drink mix for breakfast and whatever snacks we had lying around. So none of us had a true good breakfast, and so I think those are really good learning opportunities to sort of capitalize on and not make the same mistakes again.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I feel your pain, man. I was going through this morning. I just booked a race on the 20th. We were talking about that before, but I booked the cheap hotel, trying to be cheap. dude, no coffee maker. And I was laughing about this because you get kind of stuck in your ways. But like, dude, you don't have coffee? What are you gonna do without coffee? This is terrible. Like, I gotta have coffee. And then it's like, oh, they don't have a mini fridge. Like, fuck, what am I gonna do for food? Like, I want to cook. I don't want to eat shit all week, you know. And it's like, you think about those little things, and it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm old though, you know. Like, I brought my cane with me to this interview, so I think about it. I'm like, you know, I'm less adaptable because I feel like I'm, you know, a curmudgeon and I'm old. But like you young guys, it's easier to be adaptable. I feel on that.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the things that is definitely hard.
Yeah. Like, dude, I drove out to Targhee 2 weekends ago. I brought my espresso machine with me.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
Like, right, like you do what you have to do.
Listen, man, I'm stuck in my ways. I like to have, you know, I like my you know, your conveniences. It is what it is. But yeah, all right. So that's interesting. I didn't know you did the block of training like you guys did your camp before Slovenia. I thought the Slovenia was first, then you stayed out there, and then went to Germany and did the camp. So you had a whole big kind of week exploring Germany under your legs then before you race. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it ended up being like a 15,000 foot vert week, and just, you know, kind of a big week before a race that I had not really done before. So we flew in maybe Monday. We're in Germany Tuesday through Friday, and then raced Saturday and Sunday in Slovenia. And it wasn't super easy travel. You could either take a flight for like $300 or take the train. So we took the train. Me and Abby and Oakley took the train, and that was about 10-hour journey. So that's not easy the day before a race.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So it was just kind of, it was either that or we flew with everybody else and got there at 10 p.m. And so it was just kind of this weird limbo of like, I don't know, I definitely would not do a training camp right before a race like that again. And it wasn't their intention either. I must add, like, they had planned the Germany camp for a year. And just in the last couple of months, the WMRA came out and said, hey, you guys should come to this race.
Gotcha. So
ended up being.
Yeah. And if the opportunity presents itself, you can't say no.
Right.
What is it like in the camp with these guys? Like, is it, because these are all extremely talented athletes, everybody, like, does everybody push hard on these runs? Or are they taking it easy? Like, is anybody showing off? Like, what's the deal there? Like, are you guys all keeping it pretty chill? Or is it like, especially with the guys, like, is it become a, like, I don't know, do you guys push? Like, what's that all about?
It's funny because I think, at least in Germany specifically, the first day we maybe pushed a little bit. The guys did. And then me and Jarrett after that were like, okay, that's it. We're going easy the rest of the week. So I think it's pretty cool. We generally keep it pretty chill and together for the most part. Obviously there's times where you let your ego get the best of you and you sort of half step each other. But I would say for the most part, it's a really healthy group where we're not ego and we kind of enjoy just hanging out together and running.
It's cool. Very cool, man. All right. So let's go back. One thing I glossed over and I didn't get into was Broken Arrow. I feel like that was outside of Skyrunner, was an amazing performance of yours this year. At the 23K, you took a top 20 finish. I feel like this one was just like really special for you. Another like weight off your shoulder kind of moment. Like, maybe you describe it and talk about how the race unfolded for you, your finish, and kind of what that did for you.
Yeah. So Broken Arrow has always been, it was like my first pretty much real mountain race I ever did. So right out of high school, I finished my track season, and 2 weeks later I ran the Broken Arrow 23K a few years ago. So it's always kind of been a really good way of measuring my improvement, and it's just such a cool race and a cool environment and feeling. So it's always mattered a lot to me to perform there. And last year, I really had a disappointing performance. It was like, I felt like I ran okay and I did terrible, which is kind of the worst combination. You know, when you do bad and you felt bad, it's one thing, but when you feel pretty good and you do bad, it's like,
and you have no answers. You're like, oh shit, what did I do?
Right. Yeah. So this year I really came into it almost needing to do good, because just to again, like I said earlier, prove to myself that I can do it and that I am a big dog in the sport or whatever you want to say. Um, and sort of just went into this race with zero expectations, no race plan. Just said, I'm just going to let myself race. No matter who's next to me, doesn't matter. I'm just going to run it as hard as I can and see how it goes. And it ended up just going really, really good. Like I felt good. I was mentally in the right place. Physically, I felt strong enough to run really well. I was even at a point where like I ran pretty much as hard as I could to the top and then had the legs to push the downhill and really hammer it. Like I was running as hard as I can. It wasn't a fitness problem. It was a kind of a racing problem, which was really amazing. And I didn't really know how good I was doing, I guess. Like I knew I was up there and I could see guys that I normally don't see, but I didn't know kind of where my time would be or what position I was. And when I came through the finish and it was like right at 2 hours, I just couldn't even believe it. Because when I was a kid, when I came to this race, 2 hours was top 10, and that was like the fast guy. Like 2 hours was sixth or seventh place back then.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of always the line for me at Broken Arrow was I need to get to 2 hours. And last year I ran 2:18 or something. And this year I ran 2 hours and 50 seconds.
Oh my God, you took almost 20 minutes off your time, dude. That's bananas. All right, so for any no, I'm just like making a point of this. Like for any person listening to this that think you can't improve, like, and especially going from like you're already good and then you were able to do that, like that's amazing, dude. You should be so proud of yourself for that. Like if someone's like thinking about, oh, I need to find 5 minutes on a course or 4 minutes or whatever, like, dude, you found almost 20 minutes. Oh my God.
Yeah, over a minute per mile faster.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And so, it was honestly just one of those moments. And I even talked to my coach dad before the race, or even kind of before the season, just said, I need something. I don't care if I have one good race this year and I suck the rest. I just want like something to go off of to know how good I can be. And then Broken Arrow was exactly that. Like it was just such an amazing race and opportunity. And like to run that much, 20 minutes nearly faster than the year before. Like it's just stupid. So it was honestly, there's no words to describe how good of a feeling it was for me.
Did you write down all your stuff? Like, are you guys like, because like, that's the thing, like everything from nutrition to hydration, like, did you write down exactly what you did so you can continue to replicate or? Yeah.
So I know exactly like the fueling plan on that and hydration, but what's crazy is I was really not super strict with myself that week. And the week before, we had that trail team camp in Grand Lake, and I'd had a bigger week. It was low intensity, but maybe 60-mile week, which is on the bigger side for me. I don't really do high mileage. And then I raced the VK on Friday, and then that probably was a 10 or 11 mile day for me because I ran up and then ran down, and then Joe asked me to cool down, and obviously as a huge fan, I was like, I can't say no.
Yeah, when Joe asks you to cool down, you cool down. That's
you cool down. So I went and did 3 or 4 miles with him. So it was probably like a 10-ish mile day 2 days before the race, which I would never do normally. Normally I'm pretty on the softer side. So to feel maybe not perfect and then do that, I was just, oh man, it's so cool.
How did things change for you a little bit? You don't have to go super deep into, your dad gave me some inside baseball when I saw him the other day. Like obviously some brands approached you and you had some conversations. Like how has that like changed your why and your approach to the sport and all the different things? Like, has that obviously like put you on cloud 9? Like how has that kind of changed confidence as well?
Yeah, it definitely made my confidence really high. I think almost too high because I got a little greedy with racing, if that makes sense. I was like, I just want to race every week now and just keep these performances on and on and on, and then I think I overdid it a little bit because I didn't get a chance to, I never really performed quite that good since, I think, because I got a little greedy and was just like, I need another performance like that, trying to get that high again.
Yeah.
But in terms of brands, it really did like launch my name onto the market a little bit, which was really cool to see. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not to say. I'm not really having any super serious conversations yet. Obviously, the silly season hasn't fully started yet, but it was just so cool. I finished the race and Ben Blankenship from Mount Coast comes up to me and is like, "Hey man, great job today." And then later Esther from North Face kind of gives me a nod, so it was just cool to not only like give myself the proof, but sort of see other people recognize it as well.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I love it. We'll keep it at that. I don't want to go too far inside baseball. We'll talk more offline. So, all right, with all this success and with everything that's changed a little bit, like, have your whys changed? Like, are you still the same Benjamin from the beginning of the season, or are you a little bit different? Like, is your why still your why?
I would say yes, to some extent. I would say the why has not changed, but the when has.
Okay.
That makes sense. I think my why is first and foremost to be able to, my job to be running. I mean, that just sounds like a dream, it doesn't even sound real almost. But beyond that is to reach the top sport, become the best. And I think that hasn't changed, but it feels a lot closer than it did before. So before it was maybe, wait for my prime, late 20s kind of thing. But I think it's moved forward maybe a few years, 5 years maybe.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool. I love seeing, dude, I just love the success story. It's like you keep trying. I know how hard you work, and like you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, dude, we've had plenty of conversations when I was injured back in like late spring. We'd bump into each other on the trails all the time. I feel like an every week chat with you. But just like, I don't know, it's been cool to see your progression and you just like continue to like try and continue to break through. And it's starting to happen, which is kind of freaking cool to like witness. So you said 2026, you're obviously Skyrunner. There's that dilemma a little bit with 23 versus U23. What else do you think you're going to try and get into for next year? Like how have things like changed? Obviously you go back to Broken Arrow. Is there any other races you want to do like Golden Trail and stuff like that?
I think next year it's sort of not fully, there's a few things in the air. Broken Arrow, I think I kind of always want to do unless Minotaur kind of works out. I want to do Mount Marathon next year. I really want to, I think we're talking about maybe jumping into a UTMB 50K.
That'd be cool.
And trying to qualify for OCC. And then a few sky races. And I think next year the goal is going to be a lot more intentional and not just say yes to every single race, if that makes sense. So maybe I'm racing this race and that's my goal. And if I do any races between now and then, it's as a build up into that race. It's not just, oh yeah, I want to race that and I want to race that and I want to race that.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that isn't super talked about in our sport is that there is a million different things you can do. And as you get more progressive into the sport and more competitive, it is maybe smart to sort of control that and actually have some intention with performing at certain races.
Yeah. Well, I think you're so young, man. Like that's the thing is like, you're going to have a million years to do all these different things. So you have plenty of time to do it. You're not old like me. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, like getting into Mount Marathon or doing a UTMB race, like that's not like, you'll have plenty of time to do all of these things. And so you'll be able to get to it, which is good. And the other thing too, I don't think people understand or realize, it's like, dude, it's friggin' hard. Like you can only peak for what, 2 or 3 races a year if you're lucky. Like if that. So everything else is just based off of fitness and trying to do like good work, but you're never actually peaking for every race. Like you wouldn't be able to do. You just have to stay at a relatively high fitness level, which is hard, man. You get to the end of the season and you're cooked. And I just see that happening to a lot of people now. Like I know you said to me, and this is fine, like we can talk about it on the podcast, like this year you're going to sit out from pikes because, you're prioritizing other priorities. And I think that's really smart. And I think it's a very grown up decision to, pick and choose the battles because, something like a, World Skyrunner Series U23 final, I think is a lot more important for your career and, when it comes to, your trajectory and everything. So.
Yeah, thank you. I think it is something that's interesting for sure. I don't know why. I'm kind of somebody who has to learn from doing it. Like I don't know why. I just have to go through it to learn it rather than actually just thinking it through, if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely not an easy decision. Pikes Peak is like my favorite race, and just I've been pretty much tired since July. Like I haven't felt quite right since July. I've just felt smoked. So
you've been traveling a lot, dude.
And traveling and racing every weekend and not ever letting myself, like listening to my body and taking a break. So I think I'm going to really pay attention on taking this time to relax a little bit and then really focus on that U23 Skyrunning final because it is a lot more, it's better for visibility and a lot more aligned with kind of where I've put my niche, like you said. So
no, I totally agree with you. When is the Skyrunner final? Is it end of October or beginning?
Yeah, October 26th.
Nice. Oh, so you get a nice long rest afterwards, dude. You get a good little couple month break and then get back to it. And yeah, good for you, man. Nice long rest. Yeah, man. So I'm trying to think of like where we picked off on like some of the conversation, like before we get going, like, has your views changed on anything? Like, are you still wanting the Olympics, to, the sport to be in the Olympics? Do you still, because you're young enough now, like I was just talking to Ruby Lindquist earlier and I was like, oh dude, you're young enough that like, if this becomes an Olympic sport, you'll probably be around to see it. Like I'll be out of the sport long before like it becomes an Olympic sport. But you, my friend, might see that happen in your career. Like, do you still want that to happen? Like what do you want to see about the trajectory of the sport now?
It's interesting because me and Andy actually had this conversation. We did a random spontaneous VK double and we were taking the lift down and we were talking about, I asked him what he thought because I thought he would know most importantly about it out of anyone. And what he said really changed my mind because I've always thought I want trail in the Olympics because I think at least there should be some form of off-road running in the Olympics, at least if it's cross country, and he brought up an interesting point that for trail to be in the Olympics, it will probably end up being some simpled down version, sort of what happened with Skimo.
Yep.
Where there are 2-hour Skimo races and in the Olympics, it's going to be like 6 minutes or something, And so I think the way that he described that made it sound less interesting to me. I think if, for example, Golden Trail could prove to them that the flower thing works, I think that actually might be a nice, good way to do it. But I do worry that it might end up being some really, really short, simplified version, maybe like Pepe's Face Off kind of thing, which would be really cool, although maybe doesn't include me because I don't think that's where I'm in. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a different discipline. Yeah. It's
right.
Oh, it's like if you're a vertical Skimo racer, like Cam, for instance, Cam Smith. It is so amazing at Cam Smith. He impresses me so much because his best discipline is probably the vertical, but yet he's still probably going to make the Olympics if the U.S. makes it because he's so good at everything that he's made himself like that kind of guy. Whereas like a lot of people are specialists, man, you know, and if you're not a good climber, not that if you're not a good climber, you could be a great climber, but if you're not like disciplined, like Joe Gray, like Joe Gray's jam is climbing, or like Christian Allen, you know, somebody like that, then yeah, the odds of making it are damn near impossible, you know?
Yeah.
And especially if how many spots, like,
Right.
especially,
and I don't think, go ahead.
I was just going to say Canada would, if Alex Ricard's still in the picture, Canada would spank our ass, dude. So what were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah. And it doesn't, obviously that sound like it doesn't have to be me in it for the Olympics to be in trail. You know, I think that made it sound like it a little bit like I don't want trail in the Olympics unless I'm a part of it. But I just worry that it maybe won't represent trail in a good way, and then it won't even be worth it, if that makes sense.
No, I totally agree with you. I'm in the same spot, man. I think I've skewed more 60-40, like 60 no, 40 yes. In recent times, like I used to be very vehemently against it because I think of it as in dollars and cents, right? Like most Olympians, 99% of Olympians don't make money from the Olympics other than like, yes, you'll get some sponsorships here and there, but a lot of them are school teachers and like completely normal people. And you don't make any money off the TV rights. You don't make this, you don't make that. And I just always like that never sat right with me. Like I was like, all right, well, if we're going to have, you know, the sport be blasted all over television, like the athletes who already don't have long careers, in my opinion, should make something. They should get something for all their hard work and discipline and everything they put into it. So I've always been like kind of split on it. But that said, with the Olympics, it also attracts more non-endemic sponsors, which also filters money into the sport. That funds a lot of things. I still think we're so far away from it because we don't even have an out of season testing pool. Like it's still the Wild West anyway. So It's going to be like you'll probably be, I don't know, you might be like really old in the sport by the time it even becomes a thing. Like I don't see 20, like in the 2030s, like it could be much longer than that. Yeah. What do I know? You know, it'd be interesting. It's crazy though. What do you think, like, now that you've kind of competed in Europe a bunch and you've competed in Asia, you've competed all over the world at this point, and you're so young, like, what do you see of the sport? Like, has it gotten just like, it seems like in America, it's gotten so much more competitive. Like, do you see that take as like a worldwide thing as well?
Yeah, I think it is interesting. I would say Europe is always just stupid competitive because they have a lot more mountain sports, and a lot of those guys will do trail races for fun. So you have a lot more random, really good skiers who will just jump into a trail race and whoop everyone's ass, and no one's ever heard of them. You know, and they don't care to be sponsored or be a pro runner. They just do it for fun to stay in shape for skiing. Where I think America doesn't quite have that yet. But it also really depends on the place. Like Japan has a crazy good running crowd. And I think it is mostly road, but trails is definitely growing there pretty quick. It's interesting though, because although America is growing so much, it doesn't even compare to Europe racing. I think just the fans alone are so massive. But the depth, it is crazy to see, especially kind of relating to the trail team in America. Like when you look at our list of people, like our world team this year, the classic and the vertical are like maybe half or 3/4 trail team. I don't know what the word is.
Alumni.
Associated alumni.
Yeah. Christian, I mean, Anna Gibson. I mean, you look at most of them, Sydney Peterson, Taylor Stack, there's quite a few that have an affiliation or have had an affiliation with, with that team, which is kind of crazy. What do you think? You think we're gonna medal at Worlds? Like, I think we're sending a squad, and just from like everybody I've spoken to, like Mason seems a little tired, but I think if he gets some rest, he'll be in good shape. He'll be ready to go. Cam, I think, is very smart and is peaking. Like you could see from Alta to A Basin, that progression already. Like I think Cam will be in insane shape by the time like it comes. Like I think he'll peak for it. And then on the women's side too, Courtney just threw herself into the race this weekend, got second at A Basin. And I think that's a good indicator of like, this is going to be a team, at least for the Mountain Classic. Like I think that's the team I'm closest to as far as like people I'm friends with, but it seems like that's the team that and maybe the short trail too. Maybe maybe they medal as well. But I could see the mountain classic especially on the women's side. Like, I would be disappointed if the men's side did not get a medal too, because like killers, dude. We're sending killers. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think our women's classic team is incredible, and our men's short trail is kind of our two best team. And Jim's doing along, so
yeah, it's true. I think Adam's on that team too, so it'll be Jim, Adam. Who else was picked up on that team? Oh no, Seth is on the marathon team too, like short trail. So like, dude, you got to think about like that's Michelino, Seth. Like we're sending basically for the short trail team all former Broken Arrow 46K winners. So Seth is one, Michelino's one, Ryan Becker's third, David Sinclair, who's a god amongst men. Like he's, it's that yeah.
Eli's still racing it, isn't he? Or no?
I don't know. I have no idea. There's a few people floating around in there that I don't know are going to take the tickets, but like are going to be like locked in. Because you got to remember, Eli had a rough race at CCC, so
yeah,
I don't know. And I think Tabor's on that team too, so it's hard to say. I would expect them to be there, but as far as like what it matters to them, or like some people are really locked in, and it seems like a lot are. Vertical team too, dude, with Christian and Joe.
Yeah, that's killer.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there, but I think, if they show up, oh, dude, Taylor Stack as well, man, on that up down team, like dirty dog.
David Norris.
Yeah, yeah.
So. We got a killer team going. I think it's crazy because I feel it used to be a lot not easy, but easier to make teams, and this year it was just so deep.
Yeah, it was killer's row. Absolutely. Are you so this was actually a question I forgot to ask you earlier in the podcast. So next year, obviously, it will be U.S. Mountain Running Championship, probably either in the Northeast or probably at a Cirque Series race. It seems like it'll be one of those two. It'll probably be announced sooner rather than later after Worlds. But following year will be a selection year. You'll be, 25 at that point? So you'll be right in your prime. Like, are you going to go? Are you probably going to go for it? Try to get yourself a spot on the team?
Yeah, probably short trail would be my best chance. I think the classic is a little fast, faster than I like. And I think that 46K, 50K distance just sounds really nice. So going to experiment with it at a UTMB race next year, see how that distance feels. And then should be pretty solid for a solid 50K the year after.
Set yourself up for it. Yeah, dude. And it's going to be in South Africa too, which is a little, that's bananas. So that
kind of gnarly.
Yeah. Probably super techie terrain. There's like cobras. They got cobras down there. They got all kinds of shit on that course. So
it's very exposed there too. So I think it'll probably be a hotter time.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. I always feel like Worlds should be in a mountain terrain, like in like the Alps of some kind or something like that,
Yeah.
But it's too bad we'll never get one because of our wilderness situation, which I get it. We got to protect our wilderness, but still it would be kind of dope if we had something cool like that,
Yeah. Yeah. I think America needs to figure that out. I mean, I don't think they will because nobody in the government cares, but I think they should figure out similar racing opportunities and events, especially like I feel like trail running is so good because I think it's one sport that it's left better than it's was found. You know what I mean? Where maybe if you get a crazy mountain bike race, it might not look so good afterwards.
It's true. Ruts up everything. Ruts all our trails and stuff. Yeah, I was cursing the mountain bikers recently. It's just like between the rain we've been getting in the springs and the mountain bikers, I'm like, dude, our trails are in rough shape.
Yeah.
Well, not good. But
I don't even know. I haven't even been around in months. So
where was I recently? I think it was like last Friday. It was Friday. I was running around like by my house, like Red Rocks open space, and I was like, man, these trails are chewed up, dude.
Really?
Even I did a ride the other day. I think it was like maybe it was Sunday, on just like on high drive, and high drive's all washed out in a lot of sections.
Wow.
Yeah, that was from the rain.
Crazy.
So yeah, the rain has been. I mean, it's good. We don't, fires are bad, and we don't want that. But like, still, it's been doing some damage to our trails. Like, we're just not equipped for this level of rain, I guess.
I wonder if it'll be a snowy year.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I always laugh because like I know everybody like wants there to be a ton of snow. I'm like, dude, we don't hold enough snowpack anyway to ski. And it's like, what the fuck are we gonna ski? You know? So it's like
ice.
I'd rather it just be like, all right, low snow year, so that way I'm gonna get a ton of hate for that one. But I'd rather it be a low snow year so I could run around at least, year round.
No, I'll stand with you on that one.
That's right.
I'll take the hate as well.
Dry trails. Yeah, it's too bad. We need to, like I said, I kind of hinted on this earlier. We need a ski resort of some kind so I can run on that in the summer. So I don't know if anybody wants to put in a bid for a ski resort somewhere in Colorado Springs. It'd be dope.
There used to be one at the Broadmoor.
Yeah, I know. You can see like the lines of it and stuff like that, but it's all private property, man. That's another problem is like, Strava with the heat maps, like most secrets aren't so secret. And like you try to do stuff and then you get kicked out. And I've had quite a few issues of like trying to find like really big climbs. Like, you're not supposed to be here, buddy. Get out.
A lot of it is owned.
Yeah.
You got to have sneaky ways to get in.
That's right. So I had to bring Ace.
Or a friend named Ace.
Yeah, that's right. Well, dude, he took me back on that Crystal. I shouldn't put this on the podcast, but like in Crystal Park, and I was like, dude, are we allowed to be back here? He's like, yeah, they don't care. They're fine. You're just running around Crystal Park, and I'm like, well, all right. Like, this is kind of neat. Maybe I'll come back here and play around.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's my favorite place to train.
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna go on Strava after this and look on the apps again. All right, buddy. I think we got to everything, dude. Wishing you the best of luck. Get some sleep, get some rest, get recovered for October, and hope you're gonna absolutely crush it. And yeah, man, it's been this was always a fun one. I love our quarterly, semi-quarterly chats. So appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. All right, be good. Want to thank Benjamin so much for coming on the podcast. Great conversation, and wishing him the best of luck as he takes on and prepares for the U23 Skyrunner World Series final. Some really cool racing there, and I think there's just very technically engaging courses. Really interested in the Skyrunner series. Guys, if you're interested in learning more about Benjamin, you can find him on Instagram. The best way is to find him at benjamin.tsend. Give him a follow. You can find him at benjamin.tsend. Give him a follow. Let him know what you guys thought about the episode. I'm sure he would appreciate some words of encouragement and some kind words from the listener base. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you consume your podcasts. That would mean the absolute world to me, and that's how I can continue to tell these stories of these athletes, and it helps our discoverability. It's all good stuff with the ratings and the reviews. It's all good there. And very last but not least, if you are in the market for some new hydration solutions, check out our brand partner, Ultimate Direction. Guys, if you use code SteepStuffPod, that's going to be one word, SteepStuffPod, for 25% off your purchase. At checkout, you can check out some of the new stuff that they've got out there. UD just dropped a brand new Race Vest 6-liter and an Ultra Vest 12-liter. Kind of unlike any Race Vests they've dropped in the past. Really unlike any vests, in my opinion, they've dropped in the past. Really good stuff. Very dynamic, stretchy, durable materials that they're using now. There's a quiver as well that you can purchase for your poles. All kinds of good stuff there. Highly suggest checking it out. I think it's already very affordably priced, but use code SteepStuffPod. It's going to get you an additional 25% off. I think that should hook you guys up. So, guys, I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Anton episode's going to be dropping in the next few days. Just waiting on some photos and stuff to kind of put up. I hope you guys enjoy that one. If you did miss out, you'll be able to catch it on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And yeah, we've got all kinds of good stuff coming down the pipeline next week for Pikes Peak. And the following week, we are going to be putting out a bunch of stuff for the World Mountain Running Championship, which will be some fun discussion points as well. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys.